The damage is done and I've moved on. There comes a time when you wake up and realize something profound: the damage is done. The scars are there, the pain happened, and no amount of rewinding will change it. What's broken won't magically fix itself. What's lost won't suddenly return. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. Because today I'm not here to wallow in the past. I'm here to let you know that I've moved on. You see, people think pain is this unbearable weight. They think betrayal or heartbreak is something to avoid at all costs. But let me tell you something, it's not. Pain is a teacher. Betrayal is a revelation. And heartbreak, that's just the moment you learn who really has your back and who never did. It's the universe showing you what you were too blind to see before. The damage wasn't just done to me, it was done for me. That pain forced me to grow. Those scars made me stronger. I used to flinch at the memory, but now I smile because I see the lesson. You can't build resilience in a world that always coddles you. You can't find strength without first being shattered. But here's the truth about moving on. It's not about forgetting. Forgetting is for the weak. I don't need to erase the past. I need to transform it. The things that tried to break me, they become my power. They've become the sharp edge of my determination. When the damage was done, I had two choices: sit in the rubble and cry about what I lost, or build something new, something better, something unshakable. And I chose to build. Because moving on isn't about waiting for life to fix itself. It's about choosing to walk away from what no longer serves you. I don't care who did what. I don't care how unfair it was. Life doesn't hand out fairness, it hands out lessons. And if you're smart, you'll stop asking, why me, and start asking, what's next? You have to understand, moving on isn't weakness. It's not giving up. It's not running away. Moving on is an act of war. It's saying, I will not let what you did define me. I will not let it keep me in chains. The damage was the spark, but the fire is mine. And to anyone who ever underestimated me because of the pain I went through, hear this: I don't need revenge. I don't need apologies. My success is louder than any words could ever be. The best thing I ever did was move on. So to anyone listening who's still clinging to their wounds, here's my message: let go. Not for them. Not because they deserve forgiveness. Do it for yourself. Because every second you hold on to that anger, to that grief, to that betrayal, you're letting them win. You're giving them power over your story. It's time to take that power back. Look at the damage and say, you tried, but I'm still here. And I'm stronger because of it. The damage is done, but so am I. I've walked through the fire, and now I carry the flame. I've moved on. And you can too. The world is waiting for the version of you that pain tried to destroy, the unstoppable one who rose from the ashes. Go, take your life back. Move on, and make them wish they never doubted your strength. Pain is often regarded as one of life's greatest burdens. It's something that we naturally wish to avoid, something we seek to escape whenever possible. We dread it, we fear it, and we convince ourselves that if we could just avoid it, everything would be better. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if pain is not the enemy, not a burden to be carried, but a teacher offering us lessons we can't learn any other way? Pain is a unique and unavoidable part of the human experience. No one is immune to it. Whether it's the pain of loss, betrayal, rejection, failure, or heartache, each of us, at some point in our lives, will face it. We all encounter moments when the weight of life's challenges seems almost unbearable. These moments are raw, uncomfortable, and distressing, but they can also be transformative. It's easy to fall into the trap of viewing pain purely as a negative force in our lives. Society often paints it as something to be avoided at all costs, something that makes us weak, vulnerable, or less than. We're told that happiness and success are what we should be aiming for, and pain is simply the opposite of that. But what if the very thing we dread holds the potential to be the greatest catalyst for growth we will ever encounter? Pain, in its many forms, has a way of showing us the truth about ourselves. When life gets tough, when we're pushed to our limits, the facade we built around ourselves starts to crack. We stop pretending to be something we're not, and the real us emerges, unguarded and vulnerable. Pain strips away the comforts and distractions of life and forces us to confront who we really are, what we truly value, and what we are capable of enduring. For example, when we face the pain of failure, it reveals our resilience. Failure often leaves us feeling humiliated, defeated, and broken, but it also reveals how much we can endure before we crumble. It teaches us the importance of persistence and determination. The pain of failure pushes us to rise again, to try again, to reframe our mindset and strategy. It forces us to confront our own limitations and then pushes us to surpass them. Failure teaches us more about success than success itself ever could. Similarly, the pain of rejection reveals our vulnerability, but also our strength. Rejection can feel like a personal attack. It shakes our confidence and makes us question our worth. But in the aftermath of rejection, we learn something vital. Our worth is not tied to others' perceptions or approval. Rejection teaches us to rely on ourselves, to build internal validation rather than seeking it from external sources. It reveals our capacity to handle disappointment and move forward without letting it define us. Loss is another painful experience that is often seen only in terms of its sorrow and devastation. The death of a loved one, the end of a significant relationship, or the loss of a cherished opportunity can feel like the world has fallen apart. The emptiness left behind can seem overwhelming. Yet in the midst of that loss, pain teaches us the importance of appreciating what we have while we have it. It teaches us the depth of love, connection, and the fragility of life itself. Loss reminds us to live fully, to express gratitude, and to treasure the moments we often take for granted. Pain doesn't just teach us about ourselves and our circumstances, it also reveals the truth about others and the world around us. When we experience pain, we are forced to see the world through a different lens. Our perspectives shift. We begin to understand the challenges and struggles that others face in a more empathetic and compassionate way. Pain opens our hearts and minds to the suffering of others and encourages us to be more understanding, kind, and supportive. In some ways, pain is a universal language that connects us all. No one is exempt from it. When we acknowledge our own pain, we can't help but recognize the pain in others. This shared experience fosters a sense of unity and solidarity. It helps us realize that we are not alone in our struggles, that we are all navigating the same turbulent waters of life. This understanding can be incredibly healing, as it reminds us that our pain does not isolate us, but rather connects us to the larger human experience. Yet despite its undeniable ability to teach us, pain is not always easy to embrace. It's natural to resist it, to wish for relief, to want to escape its grip. But running from pain doesn't make it go away, it simply delays the inevitable. Pain will find us again, and when we refuse to face it head on, we miss out on the lessons it's offering. The longer we resist it, the more we prolong our own growth. At some point, we must stop seeing pain as an enemy. It's not here to punish us or destroy us. It's here to shape us, mold us, and prepare us for something greater. Pain is the forge in which our character is hardened, where our resilience is built. It's the storm that clears the path for new beginnings, a process of cleansing that makes way for new opportunities and growth. When we choose to see pain as a teacher, we begin to change our relationship with it. Instead of fearing it, we learn to welcome it, knowing that every painful moment is an opportunity for personal transformation. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of our circumstances and instead embrace the challenge of overcoming them. We understand that life will not always be smooth sailing, but it is through the rough waters that we discover our true strength. Consider the pain of an athlete training for a competition. They push their body to its limits, feeling exhaustion, soreness, and sometimes injury. But they don't view this pain as something to avoid, they embrace it. They know that this pain is what will lead them to success, that is through the struggle that they will achieve greatness. The pain becomes the very thing that fuels their progress, pushing them to train harder, to persist, and to become better than they were before. Similarly, in the world of business or entrepreneurship, pain is often a constant companion. The journey is filled with setbacks, obstacles, and moments of doubt. Yet, those who succeed are the ones who use that pain as fuel for innovation and improvement. Every failure, every rejection, and every setback is a lesson, an opportunity to learn and grow. The pain of business challenges sharpens their decision-making, enhances their problem-solving skills, and strengthens their resolve. Pain, when viewed through this lens, becomes the catalyst for extraordinary success. It doesn't hold us back, it propels us forward as long as we are willing to confront it, to learn from it, and to use it to our advantage. Even the most accomplished individuals in any field have encountered significant pain and hardship along their journey. Their success isn't the result of avoiding pain, but of embracing it, learning from it, and using it to fuel their drive and determination. They understand that pain is not something to be feared, but something to be mastered. They have learned to listen to its lessons, to let it guide them, and to use it as a tool for personal development. The pain we experience is not a sign of our weakness, but a reflection of our strength. It is a necessary part of the human experience, one that we must learn to navigate if we are to grow and evolve. It is through pain that we discover what we are truly made of. It is through pain that we become the best versions of ourselves. So instead of running from pain, let us stand tall in the face of it. Let us recognize that it is not the enemy, but the teacher that will guide us toward greatness. Let us embrace it, learn from it, and use it to build the life we are meant to live. Pain is not a burden, it is a gift, a necessary part of the process that shapes us into the individuals we were always meant to become. In life, we often hear people say, time heals all wounds, as if the passage of time is some magical force that erases the pain and erases the past. But what if that's not true? What if the goal isn't to forget the hurt, but rather to transform it into something powerful? There's a deeper, more profound truth that many fail to realize. It's not about forgetting what has happened, but about transforming what we've gone through into a part of who we are, into the driving force that shapes our future. The idea that time heals is an illusion. Time may dull the edges of the hurt, but it's only through intentional transformation that we truly move forward. Forgetting doesn't empower us, transformation does. When we experience pain, whether it's from loss, failure, rejection, or betrayal, our instinct is to want to forget, to move on as if nothing happened. We bury our feelings, tuck them away, and tell ourselves that we're over it. We try to erase the hurt, wishing that it would simply fade away. But that's not how life works. When we attempt to forget the painful chapters of our story, we deny ourselves the opportunity to learn from them, to grow from them. We rob ourselves of the wisdom and strength that comes from processing and integrating those experiences into who we are. In reality, what hurts us can be what heals us if we allow it. The scars we carry, the painful memories, the moments of suffering are all pieces of our story that contribute to the person we become. Instead of trying to forget them, we must learn to transform them. The pain we carry is like raw material that, when handled with care, can be molded into something beautiful and powerful. It can be the foundation upon which we build our greatest achievements and our most profound understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Think about the greatest individuals throughout history, those who achieved incredible success, made profound contributions, or overcame unimaginable obstacles. Their stories were never free of hardship. They didn't forget their struggles. Instead, they used them to fuel their drive, sharpen their resilience, and deepen their purpose. It was through their pain that they found clarity, their sense of direction, and the strength to keep going. It wasn't forgetting that brought them peace, it was transformation. Transformation is the process of changing how we view and respond to the challenges and pain we've experienced. It's about taking the raw material of our suffering and turning it into something constructive. When we look at our past through the lens of transformation, we stop seeing ourselves as victims of our circumstances. We begin to see ourselves as survivors, as warriors who emerged from the fire stronger and more capable than before. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure becomes a stepping stone, a lesson that guides us toward a higher purpose. For instance, think about someone who has been through a devastating loss. The initial response is often grief and despair. The pain can feel unbearable, and the thought of moving on can seem impossible. But over time, with the right perspective, this loss can transform into a powerful motivator. The memories of the loved one, the lessons they taught, and the impact they had on the individual's life can become the fuel for new endeavors. What once was a source of deep sorrow can, through the process of transformation, become a source of strength, a reminder of what truly matters, and a driving force that propels the individual toward new heights. Similarly, failure is often seen as something to forget, something to bury and move past quickly. But failure, in its raw form, contains the seeds of success. Every failure is a lesson, a vital piece of information that shows us what doesn't work and points us toward what will. The most successful people are not those who never failed, they are those who refused to let failure define them. They understood that failure is not the end of the road, but simply a detour on the path to success. They didn't forget their failures, they transformed them into stepping stones that led them to a greater understanding of themselves and their abilities. Rejection is another experience that many people try to forget, but it's actually one of the most powerful catalysts for transformation. When we face rejection, whether in love, career, or any other area of life, it stings. It makes us question our worth and wonder why we weren't chosen, why we weren't enough. But if we can shift our perspective, we can transform rejection into a lesson in resilience. Rejection teaches us about our value, not in the eyes of others, but in our own eyes. It teaches us to stand firm in our own worth and not seek validation from outside sources. Rejection helps us refine our focus, reevaluate our goals, and build a stronger sense of self. It forces us to ask ourselves hard questions. What do I truly want? What do I truly deserve? Rejection isn't the end of our story, it's simply a redirection, a chance to realign ourselves with our true purpose. Pain and suffering, in any form, have the power to reshape our lives in profound ways. The experiences that we try to bury or erase often contain the most powerful lessons. It's in those moments of struggle that we are forced to confront the deepest parts of ourselves, the parts that are often hidden, the parts that need to grow. Transformation requires us to be vulnerable, to be honest with ourselves about our pain and our struggles, and to allow those experiences to shape who we are becoming. Forgetting only serves to dull the lessons, to delay the growth, and to prevent us from stepping into our full potential. Transformation also teaches us to develop a sense of gratitude for our struggles. Instead of resenting our pain, we begin to see it as a necessary part of the process. We understand that without hardship, there would be no growth. We can look back at the challenges we've faced and say, without that, I wouldn't be who I am today. The people who have achieved greatness in any field have done so not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it. They didn't forget what hurt them, they used it as the foundation for their success. This mindset shift can change everything. When we stop trying to forget and start focusing on transformation, we take control of our own narrative. We no longer let our pain define us, we define ourselves through how we respond to it. We choose to rise above it, to use it as the fuel that propels us forward. Every painful experience becomes an opportunity for growth, for learning, and for creating a stronger, more resilient version of ourselves. One of the most powerful aspects of transformation is that it frees us from the past. When we transform our pain, we no longer carry it with us as a burden. Instead, it becomes a part of our story, something we've overcome and learned from. It doesn't weigh us down, it lifts us up. We move forward with the wisdom and strength that comes from having faced the darkest parts of our lives and emerged victorious. Forgetting may seem like the easier route, but it doesn't offer true healing. Transformation is the only way to truly move on from the past and create a future that is empowered, purposeful, and fulfilling. When we transform our pain, we make peace with our past, not by erasing it, but by integrating it into the person we've become. The scars we carry are not signs of weakness, they are symbols of our strength, our resilience, and our ability to overcome. Through transformation, we learn to embrace our story, every part of it, and use it as the foundation for the life we are building. Forgetting the past might seem like the simplest choice, but transformation is the path that leads to freedom, growth, and ultimate peace. Moving on is one of the most profound yet misunderstood decisions a person can make. It is often misinterpreted as an act of weakness or as though one is running away from challenges, pain, or problems. In reality, moving on is a conscious, deliberate, and empowering choice. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather a powerful declaration of strength and self-awareness. It is the decision to take control of your life, your emotions, and your future, regardless of what the past may hold. This is not about avoiding pain or pretending that things did not happen. It is about choosing to take the lessons, let go of what no longer serves you, and move forward with intention and purpose. The first mistake that many people make when faced with the necessity of moving on is the misconception that it requires forgetting. There is a belief that to move on, you must erase the past, dismiss the pain, or deny the hurt. But the truth is that forgetting is not moving on. Forgetting may provide a temporary illusion of peace, but it does not bring healing. Healing comes when you can face the past and still choose to move forward with a clear mind and an open heart. Moving on is not about erasing the scars, it is about accepting them as part of your story and choosing not to let them define you. The scars, the pain, and the difficulties are all part of your journey, but they do not have to dictate your future. Moving on is about refusing to let those experiences dictate your worth or your potential. It's crucial to recognize that moving on requires immense emotional intelligence and resilience. It's about learning to make peace with the things you cannot change. We all encounter situations in life that are beyond our control: loss, betrayal, disappointment, and failure. These events can feel like they will define us forever, but the reality is that they don't have to. Moving on means choosing to release the grip these events have on our hearts and minds. It means refusing to remain stuck in a moment that has already passed and instead focusing on what lies ahead. It's the conscious decision to leave behind what weighs you down, whether it's an emotional wound, a toxic relationship, or a missed opportunity, and stepping into the present with renewed clarity and purpose. People often equate moving on with giving up or giving in. They believe that moving on means you are admitting defeat, that you are weak for not holding on longer or fighting harder. But that is a deeply flawed perspective. Moving on is actually one of the most courageous things you can do. It takes great strength to accept that not everything in life is meant to be, and that some things must be left behind in order for you to grow. Letting go of something that no longer serves you requires immense self-respect and wisdom. It's not about quitting, it's about acknowledging that there is something better ahead, something that aligns more with who you are now and who you are becoming. It is not about surrendering to life's challenges, but about choosing to take back your power and create a future that is in your control. One of the most difficult aspects of moving on is dealing with the fear of uncertainty. When we leave behind what we know, we step into the unknown, and the unknown can be a terrifying place. It's easy to hold on to the familiar, even if it's painful, because at least it's predictable. The familiar, even in its dysfunction, offers a sense of control. But moving on requires you to let go of the safety of what you know in exchange for the possibility of something greater. This takes faith not in a mystical sense, but in the belief that by making the conscious decision to move forward, you are opening yourself up to new opportunities, new people, and new experiences that will bring you closer to the life you want. Another barrier to moving on is the attachment we have to certain outcomes. We often find it difficult to let go because we are emotionally attached to how things were supposed to be or how we imagined our lives would unfold. But reality has a way of throwing curveballs, and sometimes things don't go as planned. We can hold on to the idea of what should have been, but this attachment only keeps us chained to the past. Moving on is about releasing the attachment to specific outcomes and instead focusing on what is within your power, your attitude, your perspective, and your actions. It's about recognizing that life's twists and turns are a part of the journey, and sometimes the detours lead us to the places we were always meant to be. The decision to move on is also about self-compassion. Often we are our harshest critics. We beat ourselves up for staying too long in a relationship that wasn't right, for making poor decisions, or for not taking action sooner. But moving on is about forgiving yourself for your mistakes, your misjudgments, and your shortcomings. It is about understanding that we are all human, and we all make choices that, in hindsight, may not be the best. However, that doesn't mean we are failures. It simply means we are learning, evolving, and growing. To move on, you must give yourself permission to let go of the guilt, the shame, and the regret that keep you trapped in the past. This is a crucial part of healing, because without self-compassion, we can never truly move forward. Sometimes people resist moving on because they fear that if they do, they will lose a part of themselves. They fear that by letting go of a person, a place, or a situation, they will lose a piece of their identity. But this is a misconception. Your identity is not tied to the past, it is tied to the present moment and the choices you make going forward. Moving on is about rediscovering who you are without the things that once defined you. It's about reclaiming your personal power and choosing to move toward a future that reflects your true self. The idea that you need to hold on to something or someone in order to maintain your identity is a limiting belief. You are not what you were, you are who you are becoming. A significant part of moving on is also realizing that you cannot control other people's actions or decisions. Often we hold on to situations because we are waiting for others to change, to apologize, or to make things right. But the truth is that we cannot control others. We cannot change how they think, how they behave, or how they perceive us. The only thing we can control is how we respond. Moving on is about accepting that you cannot change someone else's behavior, but you can change your response to it. You can choose to let go of the hope that things will turn out a certain way and instead focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your future. This shift in mindset is liberating because it takes the weight off your shoulders and puts the power back in your hands. Lastly, moving on is a decision that can be made at any point in your life. It's never too late to choose to move forward. Life is a continuous process of growth, evolution, and reinvention. Each day offers an opportunity to make a new choice, to take a new step, and to redefine who you are. Moving on is not an event, it's a process that unfolds over time. It's a daily decision to live intentionally, to forgive, to grow, and to embrace the possibilities that lie ahead. Even if you spent years in the same place, physically or emotionally, you can choose today to move on, to leave behind what no longer serves you, and to step into a new chapter of your life. In conclusion, moving on is not a sign of weakness. It is a conscious, powerful decision that reflects strength, resilience, and a deep understanding of the need for personal growth. It is not about forgetting the past, but about using it as a springboard for transformation. Moving on is about reclaiming your life, your emotions, and your future. It's the realization that you have the power to create a new reality for yourself, regardless of what has happened. Moving on is a choice to heal, to grow, and to step into the next phase of your life with courage and confidence. Letting go is one of the most difficult yet powerful acts a person can perform. It involves surrendering control, relinquishing the past, and choosing to free oneself from the emotional burdens that can weigh heavily on the heart and mind. The act of letting go is not about giving up, rather, it is a choice to release what no longer serves you and reclaim the personal power that may have been lost along the way. In a world where control, security, and certainty are often prized, the idea of letting go may seem counterintuitive or even terrifying. However, it is within this very act of surrender that true freedom and empowerment are found. Throughout life, people collect experiences, emotions, and attachments that shape their perceptions of themselves and the world around them. These attachments can be to relationships, objects, achievements, or even past versions of oneself. Over time, these attachments accumulate and they can begin to define who we are. We might tie our identity to a relationship we once had, to a job that no longer fulfills us, or to the successes and failures that have shaped our history. In doing so, we often forget that our identity is not bound by these external forces. True power lies not in what we have or what we've experienced, but in our ability to move beyond these attachments and live freely in the present moment. Letting go is the first step in reclaiming that power. The process of letting go begins with awareness. It is a conscious recognition that something is no longer serving you and that holding on to it is only limiting your growth. Often this realization comes after a period of struggle or suffering. We find ourselves holding on to relationships that drain us, careers that no longer inspire us, or dreams that have become burdens rather than aspirations. The weight of these attachments can be overwhelming, and we may feel as though we are trapped in a cycle that we cannot escape. Yet the key to breaking free lies in acknowledging that we have the power to release what no longer aligns with our highest good. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it requires great strength. It requires the courage to face the unknown, to release the familiar, and to trust in the process of transformation. When we hold on to something out of fear of loss, fear of change, fear of uncertainty, we give away our power. We place our well-being in the hands of others, or in situations that are beyond our control. By letting go, we take back that power. We stop relying on external circumstances to define our happiness and instead choose to create our own. Letting go allows us to reconnect with our inner strength and rediscover the resilience that lies within us. There is also the misconception that letting go means forgetting or erasing the past. It's important to understand that letting go is not about dismissing or denying the experiences that have shaped us. It is not about forgetting the lessons learned or the people who have come and gone. Instead, letting go is about acknowledging the past without allowing it to dictate our present and future. It is about learning from the past, integrating those lessons into our growth, and then releasing the emotional attachment to the events or individuals that no longer serve us. The past is a part of our story, but it does not have to be the defining chapter. By letting go, we create space for new experiences, new possibilities, and new opportunities to enter our lives. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go is the fear of what lies ahead. When we are so attached to something or someone, the idea of releasing it can feel like stepping into a void. We fear that we will be left with nothing, that we will lose our sense of self or our sense of security. But this fear is based on a misunderstanding. When we let go, we are not left with nothing. Rather, we are left with the opportunity to create something new. The space that is created by letting go is a space for growth, for healing, and for transformation. It is in this space that we can reconnect with our true desires, our passions, and our purpose. By releasing the old, we make room for the new to emerge. We allow ourselves to step into a future that is not defined by what we have lost, but by what we are willing to embrace. Letting go also involves self-compassion. It is easy to beat ourselves up for the things we've held on to for too long or for the mistakes we've made along the way. We may feel regret or shame for the choices we've made, especially when we realize that they have kept us stuck. But in order to let go, we must first forgive ourselves. Self-compassion is a crucial component of the letting go process because it allows us to release the guilt and shame that often accompany past decisions. We are all human, and we all make mistakes. Holding on to past mistakes only serves to keep us tethered to a version of ourselves that no longer exists. Self-compassion allows us to view ourselves with kindness, to accept that we did the best we could with the knowledge and resources we had at the time, and to move forward with a sense of forgiveness and understanding. Another important aspect of letting go is the willingness to release the need for control. In life, there are many things that are beyond our control: other people's actions, external circumstances, and the unpredictability of the future. However, we often try to control the outcome of situations, holding on to the hope that we can somehow shape them into what we want. This need for control can become a source of anxiety and frustration. By letting go of the need to control everything, we free ourselves from the burden of expectation and resistance. We learn to trust the flow of life, to trust that things will unfold as they are meant to, and to trust that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. Letting go of control is an act of surrender, not to life's chaos, but to its beauty and possibility. The power of letting go lies in its ability to bring us into alignment with our true selves. When we hold on to what no longer serves us, we are often holding on to a version of ourselves that is based on fear, insecurity, or outdated beliefs. Letting go allows us to release these false identities and reconnect with who we truly are. It is a process of shedding the layers that have accumulated over time and rediscovering the essence of who we are beneath them. In this process, we reclaim our authenticity, our clarity, and our purpose. Letting go is an act of self-liberation, a reclaiming of our power and our sovereignty. It is important to recognize that letting go is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. Life is a journey of constant growth and change, and as we evolve, we may find that new things no longer align with our values or goals. Letting go is a practice that requires ongoing self-awareness and discernment. It requires the courage to continuously evaluate what is serving us and what is not, and to release what no longer supports our highest good. Each time we let go, we make space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences to enter our lives. We are not losing anything by letting go. We are simply making room for more of what we truly want. Ultimately, letting go is an act of trust. It is the trust that, by releasing what no longer serves us, we are opening ourselves up to something greater. It is the trust that, in letting go of the past, we are creating a future that is more aligned with our true desires and purpose. It is the trust that, by relinquishing control, we are allowing life to unfold in ways that we could never have imagined. Letting go is a powerful reminder that we are not defined by what we have lost or what we have been through, but by our ability to move forward with strength, grace, and an open heart. Through the act of letting go, we reclaim our power, our peace, and our potential. Success is often seen as a result of hard work, perseverance, and determination. It is a manifestation of one's vision and the culmination of all the effort one puts into achieving goals. But there's an underlying truth to success that many may overlook. It can be the ultimate form of revenge. Revenge, in its most pure and constructive form, doesn't come from destruction or retaliation, but from transformation and rising above the forces that have tried to keep you down. It is the quiet, powerful affirmation that those who doubted you, undermined you, or tried to hold you back will ultimately witness your ascent. Success as revenge isn't about causing harm to others. It's about proving, first and foremost to yourself, that you are more than the limitations others have placed on you. It's easy to believe that success is only meaningful if it's acknowledged by those who doubted you, but true revenge lies in the quiet fulfillment that you get from your own journey. It's not about getting validation from your critics or rubbing your achievements in their faces. It's about knowing deep down that you have proven something to yourself. This success doesn't have to be flashy or boastful. It's the achievement of your goals and the realization of your potential, regardless of whether or not anyone else recognizes it. Your success is the validation you seek, and it is the one that truly matters. There's a unique kind of satisfaction that comes from knowing you've succeeded despite the obstacles placed in front of you. People who criticize or belittle others often do so out of their own fear and insecurity. When someone tells you that you can't do something, it's often because they've convinced themselves that they can't either. They project their own limitations onto you, creating a false belief that the same limitations apply to everyone. However, as you strive towards success, you dismantle these false beliefs not just for yourself, but for others as well. Your success becomes a lesson to those around you that limitations are often self-imposed, and that greatness comes from the courage to step beyond them. Success as revenge also goes beyond just achieving material goals. It is about emotional and psychological freedom. For those who have been doubted, dismissed, or overlooked, success is the ultimate form of proving your worth not in terms of wealth or status, but in terms of personal growth, resilience, and transformation. The journey you take to get to success is often as important as the success itself. It is in overcoming obstacles, pushing through challenges, and refusing to give up that you find your true power. This is what strikes the hardest to those who tried to limit you, the knowledge that, despite everything they said or did, you refused to be held back. You chose to rise, and in doing so, you reclaimed control over your life. The satisfaction that comes from success as revenge is not about hurting others. In fact, it is about finding peace within yourself. When you finally reach your goals, you'll often find that the people who once doubted you no longer hold any power over you. Their opinions, their criticisms, and their limitations no longer affect you. You are no longer bound by their vision of who you are or who you can be. Your success is the ultimate form of freedom from the opinions and judgments of others. You have proven to them, but more importantly, to yourself, that you are more than their projections. In the pursuit of success, there is also the recognition that you do not need anyone's approval to live your best life. Too many people wait for permission from others to move forward. They seek validation from those who don't believe in them, or they wait for the approval of people who will never see their worth. But when you embrace success as revenge, you no longer need the approval of others. You no longer seek to prove your worth to anyone other than yourself. You define your success on your terms, and in doing so, you set a new standard for what it means to live a life true to yourself. There is no greater form of revenge than taking control of your own narrative. When others try to undermine you, their words and actions are often attempts to steal your power. They want to keep you small, trapped in a box of their design. But success, in its truest form, is a rejection of this box. It is about breaking free of the constraints that others place on you and writing your own story. It is the refusal to let anyone dictate who you can become or what you are capable of. The more you succeed, the more you show the world and yourself that their perceptions of you were wrong. Success as revenge also serves as a reminder that we are all capable of far more than we realize. Often we limit ourselves because we have internalized the doubts and fears placed on us by others. But once we begin to push against those boundaries, we discover a well of potential that was always there. When we achieve what we once thought impossible, we realize that the limitations we faced were not real. They were simply the narratives created by those who were too afraid to try themselves. By succeeding, we dismantle these false narratives, and in doing so, we show others what is possible when we refuse to be limited by anyone else's vision of our lives. In the end, success as revenge is not about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you have the strength, resilience, and determination to overcome whatever challenges come your way. It is about reclaiming the power that was once taken from you and using it to create the life you desire. Success, in this sense, is the most powerful response to those who doubted you. It is not loud or vengeful, but quiet and powerful. a testament to your ability to rise above, grow stronger, and ultimately thrive.